Right, we have 5 o'clock, Michelle. If you would like to give us a roll call for who's in attendance.
Okay, Thomas Malsbury,
Present.
Austin Sanders,
Present.
Dave Fagnan,
Present.
all here.
All right, so let me read our opening virtual meeting language. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GL Chapter 30A, subsection 18, and the Governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Easthampton Board of Public Works will be conducted via remote participation. I would like to make a motion to approve that the meeting of the Board of Public Works be held remotely via remote participation for June 3rd, 2020. Anyone like to second that?
Second the motion.
All right, Michelle, can we get a roll call vote for
Sure.
approval?
Sure. Thomas Malsbury,
Yes.
Austin Sanders,
Yes.
Dave Fagnan.
Yes.
All right, I officially open the June 3rd Board of Public Works meeting. Our first agenda item is public speak. Would anybody like to speak to anything not on the agenda as an item? All right. Item number 2 was position for mayor speak, but the mayor is not joining us this evening. All right. Item number 3 will approve the meetings from our May 20th meeting. Everyone have a chance to review those?
Yes.
I have a motion to approve the minutes, or a second.
Second the motion.
All right, Michelle, we will do a roll call vote for the approval of the minutes.
Yep. Thomas Malsbury,
Yes.
Austin Sanders,
Yes.
David Fagnan.
Yes.
Minutes approved. Item number 4 is the Glendale Bridge, that information that Greg forwarded out to the board. He's going to brief us on that.
Did everyone have a chance to look at the information I sent yesterday?
I did.
Yes.
Yes.
So we're looking at some pretty substantial repairs or total replacement in the very near future, I think, on that bridge. And in discussions with Dan Murphy, our city engineer, we've decided our best course of action in the short term is to hire a consulting firm to take a look at the state inspection and then also inspect the bridge for us on their own to determine which course of action that Dan laid out in the memo that was attached to the email I sent is the best for us for that bridge moving forward. And that's basically kind of the gist of the whole thing. I think that the next thing we need to do is get a consultant to take a look at the bridge and see what, and kind of point us in the best direction for financing. I don't think it's something that the city can go ahead and foot the bill for at this point in time. So we need to look at one of the state programs that's available to find some funding to get that bridge either repaired or substantially repaired or replaced. Okay, so what is that just a briefing for the board at this point, or is there any action you'd like us to take at this point? No, that's basically just a briefing to kind of let you know all where we're at with it and how myself and engineering division are looking at moving it forward. Okay. All right. Item number 5 is we need to select a date for a public hearing to address rate increases for fees. As I mentioned in our last meeting, I spoke with the city solicitor, Mark Tanner, and he agreed that the best course of action for all appearances and moving forward would be to open a new public hearing and consider the previous one closed because of the non-continuance. Also, in speaking with
Greg, the way that since we started this process in January, February, the city's position has changed, the DPW is in transition, the world is very different. I think I'm, as the chair, going to propose that the scope of the new public hearing be for a fiscal 21 only rate increase to address projected budget shortfall and critical projects. And then after that is in place, we will look to a more longer term capital improvement plan with a longer series of increases and spend the time in that fiscal year building consensus, working with the community, and having a longer process about the potential rate increases and stormwater fees as presented in the last public hearing. So considering that, I would like to propose a date of Thursday, June 25th at 6 p.m. for a virtual public hearing webinar, utilizing the new Zoom webinar features that we've been looking into as a city. So I would like to make a motion for a public hearing for a fiscal 21 rate increase public hearing on Thursday, June 25th at 6 p.m.
Second the motion for a public hearing.
Thomas,
Yes,
so you're proposing we not go forward on this stormwater thing at the moment because of everything else that is going on?
yeah, I don't
I'm
want to.
not saying I disagree with it. I'm just trying to,
Yes,
Yeah.
I think, the board in good conscience can't move forward with a plan till we know better about the city finances, the impact in the city, and the, with the retirement of Joe, what the ultimate direction of either Greg or whomever
Yes.
is appointed as permanent DPW director is. I want
Mhm.
to make sure the board is doing what's best for the city and for the plans that the DPW is going to, develop after the pandemic impacts. So,
Yes. No, I know, yes, I agree with that.
yeah, after speaking with the Attorney General's office and the city solicitor, basically the public hearing we started in February is defunct. We could go through some machinations to try and revive it, but basically I think in that meeting, Greg would probably propose, rescind Joe's recommendation and make a new one on behalf of the DPW. So I feel
Right.
It's cleaner to start with a new public hearing and that proposal. So,
Okay, all right. This is another question, as long as we're talking about this. And I realize you're basically tabling this a little bit, right, Thomas?
yeah, and not
So
to,
how do the three of us come to a consensus on how we want to do this when we can't talk to each other, when we're not in a meeting?
well, not to get out of the scope of this agenda item, which is just selecting the date, but for process, in theory, we will have, we'll have a proposal and we'll have public speak again. And then, where before, we had several hours of public speak and then we broke to deliberate at another meeting, we're going to have to address it in the room, in the meeting that evening.
Right. No, obviously in the open, but
Yeah.
this is going to need to be talked out at some point. We can't just have a meeting and then just say yes or no.
Can I just make
Yes.
just say one thing really quick?
Yeah.
You can put it on agendas and discuss it in open public meetings. You
Yeah.
just can't vote on anything for a rate
Right.
increase unless you have a public hearing. So you can put it on the agenda, on like, say, your next meeting that you would like to discuss how you're gonna move forward on the rates and what you're looking to do. You can put that on the agenda. You can sit, you can discuss it. The public
Yeah.
can also then put their input there also if they want, because it is an open meeting, but it's just nothing that you'll be able to vote on because the vote would have to be a public hearing,
Okay.
but you
So-
can do that.
So likely, for our next meeting, we'll have one board meeting before that public hearing. I'm going to work with Greg and Ty and Bond and the city auditor to come up with a proposal that, how we did before the last public meeting, where the meeting, the regular board meeting before the public meeting, we had a presentation of rates. We had no deliberation. We had we had a little Q&A, but no deliberation. That was saved for the board meeting or for the public hearing. So I think we'll do a similar thing where on the next meeting we have in 2 weeks, we'll have a proposal that'll also be open for public review. So that way the public can be informed for the public hearing on the 25th.
Okay,
That's as much as I can say in this format on this agenda item, but
Yep.
Yes.
No, I can put it on the next agenda and then you guys can openly discuss how you want to handle it. So,
right. It will basically be a reset from where we were in January and February.
okay,
But yeah, the whole thing is I want this to be deliberated in public and have public input, but right,
Absolutely.
we need to
Yeah.
do something for FY21, and we'll table the longer term plan, potential stormwater enterprise fund, and longer term rate increases and capital plan for FY22 on.
Mhm.
All right.
one more thing.
Yes.
I know this is out of, Greg, did you need anything on the Glendale Bridge, or I know we rolled right through that. So,
No, I had asked, he said it was more just informational. But Greg. you can
Okay,
do that.
all right, yep. Good, I'm good.
All right, then I reintroduce a motion to hold a public hearing on Thursday, June 25th at 6 p.m. by virtual webinar.
Second the motion for a public hearing.
All right, Michelle, can we have a vote
Okay.
on that?
Sure thing. Roll call. Thomas Malsbury,
Yes.
Austin Sanders,
Yes.
Dave Fagnan.
Yes,
Okay, unanimous. Motion passes.
All right. Item number 6, letter from Nashua Pond Steering Committee. Beth, would you like to summarize your letter to the director? Or it was actually to me, I forwarded it to the director.
yes,
So last summer, probably most people are aware of the algae bloom, possible cyanobacteria that happened on the pond. What I'm going to do is read this because it's easier.
Yep, that's great.
The summer of 2019, the Easthampton Health Department provided photos of the algae bloom on the Nashua Pond as a reaction to citizen concern. The photos were sent to the Mass Department of Public Health, which resulted in signage at access points stating Public Health Advisory for Cyanobacteria Bloom Present. ... which in short notified residents and visitors that they should avoid contact with the water. This advisory was deduced from a photo. No testing was done at this time. This advisory closed the recreation on the pond from 8/15/19 to 9/13/19 and directly affected the Valley Paddler business by closing it down for 4 weeks. As this is new to the pond, it caused a lot of misunderstanding and uncertainty for people that spend a lot of time on the pond. The water was tested after the 3rd week and then again on 9/13, which showed no cyanobacteria present. The end result was we never knew if there really was cyanobacteria, as the Mass Department of Public Health did not test until the visual presence was gone. So the Nashua Pond Steering Committee would like to advise the city of Easthampton to be proactive in the future. Currently, we would like to advise the city on the following action. One of the contributors to an algae bloom and perhaps visual indication of cyanobacteria is stagnant water. The top of the water was blocked by debris at the dam, keeping the algae bloom growing with no place to go. In the past, the DPW clears the dam of debris when asked to do so. We would like to ask the DPW the feasibility of a weekly inspection of the dam for debris from June 1st through October 1st. We would also like to have a protocol in place in case the Nashua Pond Committee notices there is debris that has been overlooked and or outside the above time window. To alleviate different people / departments asking the DPW for assistance, we ask that notification would come from Paul Novak or myself, Beth Tiffany, of the Pond Committee. In which case, one of us would email DPW, whomever you thought would be appropriate, of such a condition to ask for removal in a timely manner. Does that make sense? Or can I answer questions?
No, I think the letter was very clear and thorough. Greg, do you have a response for the issue as it currently stands?
Absolutely. So it's something we can do, so we certainly don't have a problem doing it. Beth or Paul, I want you to feel free to email me directly when you see something building up there. And
Greg?
yep.
Okay.
Yep. My email should be, or I'll find yours and I'll send you an email if you want it to.
Okay.
Probably,
Excellent.
mine's just first initial, last name, and then easthamptonma.gov. But so yeah, by all means, it's something we will do. It's just we're not very well equipped to do it. In the a way that we did it is not the safest, and it's not something that I can ask the staff to go and do going forward. And one other issue is when larger debris gets caught there, it ends up in the canal, and when we try to get it without having the right equipment, it ends up in the canal, and then we end up with some complaints from the owners at 15 Cottage Street and Riverside Industries. So I don't have a problem with having DPW staff perform a weekly inspection there at all, and we can do what we can. We will, and I'll have them do what they can with some of the longer reaching hand tools that we have.
Yeah.
Because I understand the problem with that, and if it's something we can solve, I'd like to. At this
We've
time,
had our own committee members, Paul Novak or Gary Goles,
Yep.
have gone down and tried to clear it with snow rakes. And
oh yeah,
in the past, we've had 2 or 3 different people trying to contact someone. And it's just, we need one
Okay,
contact
buddy
person.
here.
yep. Well, I have no problem at all being that contact. So reach out when you see something there, and if it's within our capabilities, by all means, we'll get it out of there. It's just we may not. There's maybe some things that we're not going to be able to get, but we'll do the best that we can.
And I know,
Am I on this meeting?
Yes, you are.
there he is.
All right. I just wanted you to know I was here, that's all.
Yep, we can all see you.
I don't know how to use this thing. Okay, thank
You're doing great.
you.
You're
Paul.
doing great, Paul.
Hey, thanks, Dave.
So Paul, how much did you hear?
Heard everything, but I didn't know if I was part of the meeting or not.
Oh,
No, you did great, Beth. Thank you.
so yes. There's actually, I know I started this a little late because of what's going on, but there's actually a couple of small branches.
Well, actually, Beth, I did forward your photos to the board, and I also took a photo last night. Here, let me see if I can share that.
Oh my,
Can you guys
Yeah.
see the photo?
yeah?
Okay.
Oh, very good.
So these are the 2 that Beth sent these were dated May 26th. You can see there's 3 obstructions. So only what I would consider the 2nd and 4th weir are overflowing. Weirs 1, 3, and 5 are blocked. And then a week later, this was taken by me on 6/2. I happened to be walking downtown. You can see there's a stagnant area in the corner that's already accumulating organic material. So
Oh, thank you.
Greg and
that's-
I discussed, I discussed it briefly with Greg, and this side has smaller debris that they're hopeful they can get. It's the one farthest over by the brick structure. It looks to be like a large log or a telephone pole chunk
Oh.
that we're not certain they'll be able to get with their, smaller equipment. So that one may take a little longer. He explained to me the process by which they used to remove material, and under current health and safety, that's not what the equipment was designed to do, and neither he nor I could ask anybody to use the equipment in that way. So we're going to try and develop some other procedure for larger debris. But
That would be great.
I think these photos are very helpful to the board. So.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, real good.
And one other thing, I think if I can devote a couple hours or so a week to somebody going down there, I don't think it'll even be a couple hours, but if I can devote so that we're down there weekly and we can keep the stuff from building up, hopefully less will get caught. So I think it'll be something we should be able to keep a better eye on going forward.
Greg, I guess something I was interested in, it seems everything's getting hung up on those last sections of steel. Is
Yep.
there any issue wearing up the dam one more level so those obstructions weren't there? It was a uniform ledge for stuff to go over. I mean, I know then stuff would just go down into the canal, so maybe they're there on purpose. I guess, are those spikes intentionally catching material, or?
I'm not positive. I have to look into that, Thomas, but
Okay.
we don't have, at least to my knowledge, we don't have a lot of records and data as to exactly how the dam was designed and what exactly it was intended to do. But I can see if Dan or Diane might be able to find something that shows a little bit more about that. But I know that we've looked in the past, and it's not, our documentation on exactly how that is to operate and be operated isn't great.
All right. I think that's something we should look into and
Absolutely.
know that we're maintaining it in the best method, so we're not making work for ourselves if it was not designed to function that way. So
Yep.
that's good. Good to know.
Oh, thank you so much.
Any other discussion on this topic, or do you feel resolved and heard?
Just for your information, and there's no action needed. Also, part of what we're going to do is we're trying to get the lab that does the testing for cyanobacteria.
Mm-hmm.
Try to get them on retainer or on call. So if there is a concern of the cyanobacteria, we can get them right out to test. So it's like a twofold process. We're asking if we keep the water flowing, and then if it does, because algae it's part of the pond. It is healthy.
Okay.
You need it. But also be able to test it if there was a question.
Understood. Keep us
That's-
informed if you have
that's why-
anything. Feel free to keep the board informed about anything like that. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Paul?
Thank you,
All
Beth.
set?
Thank you, Paul.
Did someone have a question?
No.
Okay, sorry. All right, so I think the last item on our agenda is the standing item for the director's report. Do you have anything, Greg, you'd like to add?
No, just some goings on in the department. We've started a system-wide leak detection for water leak systems that commenced yesterday. We have to do that every 3 years based on our a requirement of our Water Management Act permit. And so that's obviously take a couple weeks, and I don't think they're going to find too much, but they generally find something every time, and we're able to go out and get it fixed. That, and we did bring the DPW field crews back to full staffing this week with
Great.
some good protocols for COVID-19 in place, and they're really getting a lot done. And it's great to see everybody back out there working and getting stuff off our list. So I'm really happy about that, getting everybody back and getting back to it. So it was challenging the way that this hit after winter. A lot of things we have to wait. We have to leave with barrels on them for the winter because of we can't do concrete work or much blacktop work in the cold weather. And with this hitting right in spring when we were able to really get going on work, it's really set us behind. So but I have faith we're moving right along with getting caught up. So it's only been a couple days, but we'll get there. So, but yeah, that's basically all I have for right now.
All right. Thank you for the update. Unless there's anything else, I'm going to move to close this meeting, and we will reschedule. Well, I guess, what is the date for our next meeting? It would be June 17th. We'll have a regular board meeting.
Yep. Yes.
And we've scheduled the public hearing for Thursday, June 25th. So I'll see you all at both of those.
Okay.
Motion to close the meeting.
Second the motion.
All right. Michelle, can we have a roll vote?
Yep. Thomas Malsbury,
Yes.
Austin Sanders,
Yes.
David Fagnan.
Yes.
Okay. Motion
Okay.
carries.
Thank you all for your time. Have a good week.
Thank you, everyone.
You.
You too. Thank you.